Okay, there we go. Stream is live. And yeah, I'm wondering. I'm sure you'll be watching the stream as you're talking to me, but
I guess that's
you'll
the
be
only
watching.
way. That's
Yeah,
the only way I can really follow what's going on, right?
yeah. I have tried it in the past. Um, I have tried in the past doing like a Skype screen share with someone, so they're seeing an instantaneous representation of my screen through Skype screen share, and I'm also live streaming it at the same time. But that's a fair amount of FPS hit, so I don't think that's generally a good idea. Um, so
Okay.
there we go. Let me just load this up. Let me just pause track IR. Okay, I can hear my own stream as live. I usually on my laptop on the side have my own stream playing back, and I also have the chat box up here so I can see what people are saying. Okay, so that is the Vega loaded in. And it's going to be weird now every time I use the ramp agent hearing two voices that are the same.
That will be a computer, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, sorry for that. I
that'll be fine.
can't help it.
That'll be fine. Okay, let's just take off the image there and hit fly on that. So we should have our Project Fly bar up at the top start working. All right. Let's just sit and relax for a minute while we get things set up. Hopefully I don't.
Yeah.
Hopefully the sim doesn't crash again like it did last live stream. Let me just go and
Hey man,
sync.
that looks so familiar. I've got an old my computer, my rig is quite old here, about 5 years I think now.
Okay.
Did it 580 or something, and I experienced the same stuff. It's like every now and then the graphics card driver just
Yep.
stops.
Yep. I'm hoping to upgrade to the RTX 2070 at some point, and I'm hoping that will fix most issues. But I'm probably going to reinstall my graphics drivers thoroughly when I make that upgrade as well. So hopefully we shouldn't have any issues there. But okay, so that's the time synced. I'm just going to pop the frame rate up in the top left hand corner. Everything looks okay so far. And of course, nice thing about the West Coast is you don't get a terrible amount of cloud all the time. Like in Europe, it's always really cloudy and the frame rate gets a hit. And but on the West Coast, particularly out in the desert off the coast, you do get some very cloudless, a bit of haze, but apart from that, hello Sevi, good to see you on the stream, sir. We're just getting set up here for a live stream. 7 people watching already. So it's going to be a busy live stream, I think. So,
Well, one of them is me.
yep, excellent. It's quite funny in the early days when you start live streaming. It's like, oh, I have one viewer, and then you realize it's yourself.
But
Right. Okay. So, before I jump into the cockpit, let's just discuss my route. My route. Actually, I'm going to pull up Plan G because that's usually a good thing to have when you're flying VFR. Let's just connect to Plan G and let's remove. That was the previous flight I did on the live stream. Let's just delete that. Let's go from Kern Valley to Aqua Dulce, which is Lima 70. Add airport. Okay, so it's almost basically due south from here, which is fine. I'm going to go over some pretty deserted, deserty areas. Okay, so first things first, we're going to do a walk around. Actually, no. Apologies. Apologies. The first thing we're going to do is we are going to introduce our guest we have a guest on stream today. Hello, Gaza. Good to see you. One is me. Yep. Sevi, did you ever do some stellar navigation? Not yet, since my original stellar navigation stream on the, what was it? It was New Year's Eve, actually. I did an all-night stream. That was so much fun. I should really do that again. Actually, guys, next week I have all of next week off work. But I'm going to take a holiday next week. It's actually my birthday as well, and I should do another transatlantic stellar navigation stream. That is what I'm going to do next week. I've just made that up. I'm just made that decision in my head. Yeah. So
So does that mean you navigate by the stars? So
yeah,
like proper text and stuff?
all within the sim. Yeah. There's an add-on that you can, a 2D gauge you can get in the Constellation
I
and
think,
the Stratocruiser that
yeah.
enables you to you have to
Yeah, I think I saw that.
take
I saw
certain
that.
shots every hour, and based off of those shots of different angles of different stars at different times, you can calculate, you can triangulate a position on the face of the globe where you are. It's not terribly accurate compared to, of course, modern day GPS, but it's a lot of fun, and it's the way they would have done it in the old days. In fact, I'm sure you know, Vitus, one of the details of the B3, no, the B the Clipper, the B314. That's it, the B314 Clipper.
Yeah.
On the top of the fuselage, it has a little dome, a
Yeah,
little
ooh,
glass
for
dome, and that was for
yeah.
stellar navigation at nighttime. So the navigator could pop
Oh,
his
look,
head
I
up and
mean, the aircraft that you're flying with. I mean, the pilot has all full for that, so it's
yeah, yeah. He's got
probably
visual.
not a good idea to try stellar navigation. However, when
Yeah,
Wiley Post did his first around the world flight with the
yeah.
Lockheed Vega,
Uh-huh.
his Getty sitting in the back, and he was shooting stars as well.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. That's so cool. So that's basically what they would have done, and that's, I've managed to do it in the sim. I was descending into Gander, and then the whole simulation crashed. And it was like 4 o'clock in the morning. I
oh.
was just like, oh, I'm going to go to bed now. But I pretty much made it all the way across the Atlantic, without looking at any other. I was just like plotting my position on Google Earth. Which is really cool. But anyway, that's a whole nother conversation. We can sit all night through next week and chat about that. But today we are here with Vitus. I'm sure I pronounced that correctly. Vitus? Vitus? How do you say it?
Any
Yeah, Vitus. Okay. I'll say Vitus then. We're here today with Vitus, who is a developer at Wings 42. Vitus, just explain, please, for the streamers, for the viewers, a little bit about yourself, about the company, maybe, and the aircraft that we're going to look at today. Just a couple of minutes of intro.
yeah, okay. So, hello, I'm Vitus, or Ottmar, if you will. I started Wing 42 about, how long ago? Like 2.5 years. Developing a Lockheed Vega for FSX and Prepared. However, busy in like the add-on scene, never released anything. So I still have a couple of projects that are brewing in the back, that I want to push in the next couple of months as well. But for now, I'm developing the Lockheed Vega, an aircraft, a tail dragger, the golden age of aviation, and it has all the bells and whistles of a properly aircraft, with its own physics engine and real systems implementation and procedures. Yeah, so that's
Cool.
essentially it.
Excellent. Yeah. We've still got some slight issue where you're cutting out every now and then, but I caught like 98% of everything you said there, so that's cool. And if anyone else has any questions later on, I'm sure we can discuss as well, and talk about that. But let's see. Sevi says, yeah, all nights are great for me because time zones sync up. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. So I think the best way to go about this is just to begin our walk around and get stuck in and just and roll with the flow. And as questions arise and as discussions about various aspects of the add-on arise, we'll just sit and chat. So sounds good to me.
Yep, yep. That sounds good. I mean,
So
one thing that
yeah.
you always this is early access, so
Mm,
there is a couple of issues. There's a couple of features that are just not there yet, and I mean, few things that you last week as well on your live are just due to that. Like like your there was something fishy about your oil pressure and oil temperatures. Pretty much in development.
mm,
Parts of it is working, but yeah,
yeah.
overall there's still a long way to.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. That's no problem. And that's like the one overall impression I got, even when after discussing those issues, like, was that this is a cracking add-on for the level of where you've got it so far. If this is what you're giving us in early access, then it's going to be an absolute
Yeah.
fantastic add-on. So
Thank you.
yeah,
Glad you feel that way.
I do. Are you just do this yourself, or is there anyone else in the team that
Yeah, no, no,
works?
no. This is just me, and I mean that's the reason why I take 2 freaking years to get an aircraft.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the way that I see it is, I primarily develop a physics engine, an underlying physics engine that I then take and put into other aircraft as well. The next aircraft, which will be the Lockheed Electra, will be much faster
Ah,
in
very
terms
good.
of development.
Uh-huh. Very good.
And I mean overall with the I would say I think there will be another update point 09
Mm,
probably within a month or two.
right.
And then the next update will probably be version 101.
Yeah.
So that's where I am right now.
Yeah. Very good. Nice. Nice. One thing that's been happening a couple times just in the pre-flight, why is it that the fuel tank checks remains amber even after
Ah,
clicking and moving on? Is that because it takes them time to
I don't know
fully
what's going on.
confirm?
I have no idea what's going on with your oil. Why your oil? Did you just refill the
Uh,
tank there? Wait,
let's see.
does it say
Check,
full?
check, inspect. Um, full. Tank level full. Sample. Oil appears brand new. No metal shavings found.
Okay.
Yeah.
So with the fuel, uh, look, this is one of these things is user interface.
Sure.
User, I looked at what you were how you were structured. Will change that accordingly because you
Mm.
shouldn't be struggling with that point. The
Mm.
logic behind what's in there right now is, excuse me, if filled up to the brim, then it turns green.
Mm.
If you have a little bit less fuel or something like 3/4,
Yeah.
it will fall below something like 20%, it will show red. So the
Okay.
logic behind this is to say when it's yellow, that this is what you want.
I see.
Um,
I see.
so,
Yeah.
so, so that was my approach, but you're not the first one to point this out. So
Mm.
I better do this. I mean, one idea that I had was that rather than just turning this thing green immediately, is that you have acknowledged the left. There will be like another button somewhere when you
Mm.
click it to
Right.
say, yeah, that's what I want. But yeah,
Sure.
there's nothing wrong with it. It's just
Mm.
how it's communicated.
Yeah. Yeah. Very. Yeah.
There
And you
was
can see
another
I have
one
low
of
tanks as well.
yeah, those type of things with the payload manager. Uh, because there's no unloading or disembarking button.
Mm.
And again, I mean, I just have a different eyes on. Essentially, when you click on one of these seats, you're toggling the state. You say, okay, if it was empty before, and you click it,
Mm.
If the seat is filled and you click it, then it will be emptied. So
Right.
whatever is yellow in between is like the intermediate state.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
there will be a change if you click the board button.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Cool. One thing I was just looking at is it sounds like you're cutting out a bit more than usual at the moment. I just looked down and it says Discord is connected to your real-time communication server on EU Central 879, which has an average ping of 81. The last ping was 51. So I wonder, I think it's just the server right now, whatever it is that's just causing ping issues. But we'll just play it by ear. So yeah, so I've as we were
We battle
talking,
through, I guess.
yeah, we'll just battle through. As we were talking, I went through the other points on the checklist, just ticking them off. So that's good to go and done. The next thing I want to do is I want to load the aircraft. So if I go to talk to Heinrich, that's so funny hearing your voice and then talking to you in real life. So without moving the wheel chocks, I think we should keep the wheel chocks and the tie downs in for the moment. We will pull up.
Yes, sir.
Oh.
Getting the steps.
Oh, I pressed up accident. Stop. Okay, that's fine. Passenger steps. Okay, passenger steps are set. We want to get the baggage cart. Jolly good, sir. You see, that's when I was like, hang on a second. We're in California, or I mean, I imagine the Vega experience that you're building is based around a kind of West Coast culture, which I
Yes,
guess
but
I guess
look,
the Vega would have.
Peter,
Sorry,
but I
sorry.
can't pull off a Californian accent.
That's
This is
true.
just not the thing I can do. You
True.
understand?
Indeed, indeed. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Um, um, if you want, I could do a rampaging voice of a British jolly good sir, but then that just wouldn't. I don't know.
Well, yeah,
If you need
but
any
I'm
voice
very
acting, you
good
know
with
where to come.
British.
Yeah, that's true. If you ever need any British or English accent voice acting, you know where to come. So
Oh, thank you.
yeah,
That will be for our
I would.
short empire flying
Yes,
boat, right?
yes, yes, yes. If you could do like an AI first officer,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
that I would just.
Yeah, but I mean, in this case, you need to
But
talk really, really posh.
oh
It must be
yes,
really
oh
like,
oh jolly good show,
yeah.
sir. Yes, oh indeed, indeed. I could talk quite posh for the rest of the stream if you would like. Right, ladies and
Brilliant.
gentlemen, let's just have a look at the baggage cart here that Vitus has developed for us. Yeah, so, but the one thing I was impressed with, if I can just get rid of that for the moment, is you put period baggage on there as well. I was like, that is detail. Like, you don't get hat boxes like that these days. Like,
Oh
I looked
man.
at that and I was like, that right there is a lady's hat box. Like,
Oh, but that reminds me. I noticed there is a little bug in this version.
uh-huh.
The luggage should be loaded piece by, and it's not right now. There was like I had to rearrange the payload stuff. That, yeah, complicated story. So version 0.9 will feature that again.
That's weird because
I mean, this is look. This is. Did you know? Did you
uh-huh.
know that the Phillips screw was invented sometimes in the 1930s?
No.
You won't find a single Phillips screw in this Lockheed Vega, and I'm damn sure of that.
Wow. So the Phillips head screwdriver was not invented
Yeah,
until the 1930s, you
I
say?
think it was sometimes in the 1930s. Yeah,
Wow. So
some weird,
everything is a flathead screwdriver if it's a
pretty much.
screwdriver
Yeah,
at all.
yeah. So
Wow.
so flathead. I've got some other screws in all these things, like squares, little
Uh-huh.
I don't know square thingies.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Wow.
if
Wow.
anybody finds a Phillips screw in the Lockheed Vega, please let me know, because that would be classified as bug and
Oh,
fight.
brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Okay, so
Should I do?
let's just go to. Actually, no. How? What is the best format for this? Should I add fuel in the? Let's see which one am I going to
So
here?
I think, look, I think in terms of procedure, probably the best way to get started is you did your
Mm-hmm.
pre-flight, you would load up your fuel, then you would start up your engine, then you would board your passengers, because that gives you time to and everything.
Ah,
As you know, that takes some time.
yeah,
So
right, right.
that's probably the best way to go about it.
Okay. Well, we'll do that then. Let's give ourselves about 70% in the right tank and in the main tank, sorry, and then roughly 48 on the sides. We don't need too much because we're actually flying a shorter distance than we did when we came from Santa Barbara, because Aqua Dulce isn't as far. But it's nice just to simulate some weight in the aircraft anyway. So um, and then I'll add some passengers here. Um, and then I'll exit that and I'll go to the ramp agent
What should I do?
again.
Like I
And
said, I would wait with that, but yeah, it's your flight.
yeah, I want to. I don't want to remove the baggage cart. I want to. Oh, oh no! That's I do it from this one. I hit load cargo. That's what I would do. So I'm just going to sit and look at this for a second.
Luggage loaded, sir.
Okay, luggage loaded, sir. Right, right. So that's done.
Baggage card left.
Yeah,
That's
baggage cart
another
left.
change that will
Yeah.
come in the next version.
Mhm.
At the moment is a little bit too cheap. So like these, right now the logic is like whenever he finishes one task,
Mhm.
string of tasks, he will announce like the last one.
Right.
But a couple of new, a couple of in the next version, you will actually only when something is really done, like when like immediate, like tiny, he will be a little bit less chatty.
Okay. Okay. Right. Okay. Next thing, one thing I did not do last time, which is just pull up the ba-da-bum-ba,
That
Vega.
doesn't look good.
Yeah, got myself a fuse checklist. That's what I wanted.
Uh, this usually indicates that you have another issue somewhere, and
Ah,
I expect either or your booster coil has a short circuit.
okay. So that obviously will be manifest
But
when I
if
go to
you,
try and start the engine. But what would I do? That would be in the maintenance.
I mean, in order to fix that, you would go to the maintenance panel and yeah, the electrical part, and check just the two last items. It's the starter motor and the booster.
Hmm. They're both green. Interesting. Oh, you can click on report and it even tells you component. It gives you a date on the component as well?
Yeah, it's it's
Wow.
not quite finished yet. There will be some dramatic changes in the last.
I love this is report
It's
lorium ipsum, lorium ipsum, lorium ipsum.
yes.
As a designer for print, I'm unfortunately well
I'm
aware
familiar.
of lorium ipsum. Cool,
Oh,
cool.
that looks all right. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so they seem to be okay. So I could inspect all components.
No.
Let's just go see what that unfolds. Hmm. By the way, this is really cool. I think this is a really good idea. Oh, I see something. There is a short circuit. There is an issue between the starter motor and the booster and the rest of the system. You'll see it pop up.
I have to wait until the stream catches up.
Yeah, no worries. So it's, yeah, if I mouse over that, click to review the
So
report.
that I should know. Again, talking about the update, the next one.
Hmm.
The big update is for is a wear and tear module.
Hmm.
And, so finally there will be like proper malfunctions that outside of the electrical system and the barometric system. And I will overhaul the. This will be, this will be changed quite dramatically.
Yeah, yeah, no problem.
So all of this is preliminary.
Yeah. So by now you should see that red. If I click on that,
Yeah,
electrical
but
fuses.
that just seems to be the fuse though,
Attempt to fix the
which is
component.
weird because
Yeah.
you just change.
Yeah, because I just changed that. But anyway, so that's now green. So that's good to go. We should be fine. So that's good. So I think at this point, I do not have any passengers loaded yet. Let me load the passengers first, and then I'll go on the before start checklist. Oh no, I don't do it from here. I keep thinking that I could do it from here. I do it from shift 2. Board passengers. There we go. And then in a second you should come back and say, I like how they're amber and then they go blue when they're boarded. I think that's really good.
Yeah, I mean the idea is that everything takes some time. It's not like you click something,
Yeah, I really like that.
it
Yeah.
magically appears. Things take time. You need to install the wheel chocks. You need to tie it down, and the but everybody at once. So I really like that dynamic as well. I think it's really cool.
Yeah.
And I mean, one thing that's still missing is the three passengers, but that coming as well at some point.
The 3 what? Sorry?
The 3D models of passengers.
Ah, yes. Yes, the 3D models of
So
passengers.
that's of course a must. Like
Yeah.
nice 1920s attire.
Oh, yeah. Oh. And then, of course, like as you continue fleshing out your fleet of add-ons, you can use those 3D models later on. You know,
Yeah.
the future is bright for the flight sim community. I feel like if there's any way I could get on board to help with development of aircraft like this, I would. I wonder if I am doing audiobook narration in real life for various books and I do graphic design stuff to an extent, but I'd love to do some voice acting for the aviation community, for the flight sim community, if that is something you ever need. So anyway, let's go to the before start checklist.
I will back if that arises.
Yeah. Right. So before start checklist, pilot's pre-flight briefing with myself. I have completed that. Parking brake is set. Electrical fuses, we did just thoroughly go through the electrical fuses and check those, so they are good. Clock, wind up and set. I love the fact that you have to wind up the clock. It's sitting at 53 at the moment, and it goes up to the maximum of 300. What's the logic, just quickly, behind those constraints?
It's really nothing. This has something to do with like the animation and the mouse movement and all these things. I will remove the number at some point.
Sure.
It was more like I don't know,
Yeah.
still a rem.
Yeah.
By the way, maybe you didn't notice that, but you also have to set the and in order to set that, you actually right and then move left and right. And the thing is, the clock has an that means that it accumulates this error over time, and the error also depends on how much. So, like, if the clock slowly winds down after something like 8 days, that's why it's an 8-day clock. After 8 days, it will get slower and slower and slower towards the last.
Huh.
At some point, it will stop, and it will actually show you the time at which it does stop.
Huh. Wow. So it's roughly 11,
And yeah, it's a little bit
11:26
different.
local time in the sim, so I've just set that.
Yeah,
There
I
we
mean
go.
that's one thing that I've looked at. You don't always know what the time in the sim is. So yeah, but there is coming.
Mm. That's fine. That's great. Let's see. Fuel select off. You will find me very, very, very forgiving, because and you will feel all the time. You will feel like you want to apologize for this not being right yet and that not being right that, and that's fine as well. But like just know that I'm incredibly forgiving. I like myself as well work in the creative industry where to create a finished product you have to go through this period of constructive feedback, and
Yeah,
it's
look,
sometimes
I
funny
mean,
because in my industry people will come to me and say, oh well, that's just not right, and I'll say, well, yeah, I know it's not right yet, but we have to go through this period of it not being right so that we can get to the
yeah,
part when it's right. So it's the whole process, and
yeah.
but yeah. So
Well, look, I mean, this is why we have like sort of conversations right now as well. I'm jumping to your stream and when it comes to things like user interface.
mm,
I mean, you work in this industry as well. Like user interfaces is a thing, right? Wrong, but there's also a lot of ways to do it right and to find it's so you will never when the user interface doesn't work or is not. You need to have someone else look over it in order to find out if something's wrong,
mm,
and that I'm very keen on on just so observing you how you interact with the software.
mm, mm, yeah. One thing I think I want to do just while we're here is the noise that the connection issue between us. Having you cut out a fair amount in the audio.
Yeah, okay,
So
that's fine.
what I'm going to do is I think we should open up a private channel between just you and me, because I think you're having to connect to my Discord public server here. So if
um,
we make a private connection, that might be better. So I'm just going to pull out and call you
all right,
separately. So I'll just be gone for a minute here.
okay.
There we go. Yeah. So let's hopefully this should work a bit better.
That's a good idea actually.
So that means that the connection is now just between me and you, hopefully.
Oh,
But we'll find out. We'll find out.
yeah. It looks like you're still breaking up for me.
Okay. Ba-dum-bum-bum-bum. If I just keep my microphone on continually, let's see, does it sound like I'm breaking up at all? Actually, it says Western Europe. I am in Western Europe. That's true. Is there anything more closer to me? No. Okay. Um, if you sit and talk for a while, I'm sure I'll hear if you break up or not. But
Well, yeah, I
we
mean,
might as well just soldier on for the moment.
I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce this name. Pierrot 2979. Hi there. It's
Oh,
exactly we need in this.
yeah, more
Thank you,
immersion.
Dev.
Thanks, Dev.
Well, you're welcome. I feel exactly the same way. And I think one thing that I really want to do is like to bring this feel of the into the simulator as well. It's not so much about the flying experience itself. Well, I mean, of course, that's a huge part, but it's managing your aircraft, talking to your ground crew, things that break down just at random. This is all something that I find is missing in the simulator right now. And another thing, at least for me, is to design interfaces that kind of go as well. I always find it very sad when these interfaces look so sterile, just like the rest of it. I want to give a little bit more of an immersion feeling to this by producing interfaces that kind.
Okay, just done the wobble pump there. Primer, 1 to 3 strokes. It's, of course, it's the West Coast, so I'm probably only going to do as 1, 2, 3. That's fine. Like so. Throttle open 1/2 inch. It's kind of hard to gauge what's 1/2 inch in the sim environment, but I
Yeah,
usually hit around 25% to
that's
30% on
fine.
the throttle is generally
That's
where I
fine.
sit.
It's not that sensitive either. It should be working with something like that.
Now the
I mean, the one
spark.
thing. Oh yes, there it comes.
So spark. The spark is set to spark. It says keep the spark roughly the same as the throttle to begin with. So
Yeah,
open 1/2 inch as well. Mags. Let's get both those mags on now. Let's set those to both. Booster button
but
on, and then
I
the
feel like
starter.
we have to have a whole conversation about the spark control lever, what it actually does.
Yeah, because there's a few different people in the chat and various places who weren't sure what that was, but we'll hold that conversation I think for until I got the engine actually on. So engine booster is on, and let's see, wind up then mesh. Okay, so I think it.
So fingers crossed that your electrics are not completely blown to pieces.
See, is it you pull out to wind up, don't you, and then push into mesh?
Maybe the other way around.
Is it the other way around?
It's the other way around. Yeah, I had some criticism about the noise level, like the flight
Oh, I
didn't
can
want.
hear it now. I can hear it now. Yep.
Yeah.
I think to begin with it's hard to. I can hear
Oh,
it.
it takes some time to
I
wind up, right?
I seem to remember the first time I did this, it was quite a clear sound to me, and then in the live stream, it didn't sound like it was working properly. It didn't. It was harder to hear, and that's why in the
Here's
live stream, my first live stream, I was like, "Oh, this isn't working."
ah.
But because I remember doing it the first time I fired the sim up and tried this, it did work.
Well, you can adjust the sound if you go to shift,
Ah, that's probably, yeah.
and you can crank it up a little bit, but don't forget it in this version again, user interfaces. Click on save in order to make sure that the changes are made.
Right. So if I go to effects, audio effects, they're
Yeah.
both kind of on half. I'm just going to put that up a little bit and hit save and close. I'm going to try and wind that up again.
And your fuel pressure is kind of
Ah,
low
yes, I
like this, so
forgot.
you need to keep pumping. Like you pump up your wobble pump, right? Then you prime your engine, then you do all your preparations, and you usually have to pump a little bit again because
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to count 30 seconds on the spool, and then I'll mesh. I remember this because this is what I did wrong. My last live stream, I spent too much time and I didn't realize that the fuel pressure had gone down.
yeah. I mean, it's not super important to that. What happens is that in your carburetor, a, a, um, a little container with a floating device, and this floating device is connected to a valve.
Right.
The floating device makes sure that this bowl is always filled roughly half, and so there's always a little bit of fuel. This is like fuel. So when you crank over your engine and you don't have fuel pressure, you will first deplete all the fuel that's left in the carburetor.
Uh,
Well, it can't refill if you don't have fuel pressure. The fuel pressure usually comes on fairly quickly, so it should be all right. But it generally helps if you have a little bit of fuel pressure always left. So it really
It's going
sucks.
down now.
I can't really tell where you are in the
Yeah, that's okay.
because the live stream is so behind.
The audio sound of the wind up sounds like it's winding down now. So I'm just gonna leave it a minute or two.
Well, you don't have to wait to. So you push the thing in, you wait until you hear a regular like winding noise, and then you pull the lever out.
No, I'm still not hearing that. Huh. Yeah, I'm not hearing that.
Another thing that can happen is that that your the use of the motor, so the motor got too hot, and as a result of that, it creates either a short circuit or opens up.
Right. So what I think I will do for the
I mean,
purposes
again, look,
of
the thing is, I can't really follow you on the stream like that, so it's a little bit hard to tell what's
that's
really
okay.
going on.
Yeah,
It's
that's
just
okay.
that
Basically, I got
things.
to the point where I was holding it in and I couldn't hear the thing spooling up again.
Yeah, then there's probably something with the motor. So maybe have the mechanic check that once more, or I mean, look, the quickest way is go
I
and
might
click on fix all issues. That should take care of that straight away, and then try that again.
click all fix all issues. Where was the
Shift 6
shift
menu and
shift 6?
yeah.
Okay, right. Let's try that once more then. If it doesn't work this time, I'll just hit Control E
Yeah,
like a noob.
like a noob.
Yeah. Hey, Ian Fisher, good to see you. Yeah, I can hear that spooling up now. Going to have to catch up with this later as I'm at work. No problem, Ian. Have a good time. That sounds like a good, strong, winding up sound there.
Mm.
Ready, set, go. Ah, come on. Right, Control E. Right, okay. I'll have to... Okay, hang on. Now that I've started up, let's go to after engine ignition, run at 600 RPM for 10 seconds. Release the booster button, advance the spark. Okay, advancing spark. Then open the throttle to idle to 900 to 1000. Well, it is actually, unfortunately, until the oil temperature reaches 40 Celsius. And also disengage the booster.
Oh, I just noticed something else.
Uh-huh. You're cutting out.
Oh, sorry. Right. I think it looks as if you have the cowling. You forgot to put the cowling back on. So you called your mechanic.
Ow!
Taking the cowling off, but now you will have some trouble getting it back on.
There's no way to get it back on now, is there, until I close the engine down?
Yeah, I guess.
Brilliant, brilliant. I just turned the mag straight off. Oh, that's brilliant. that right there. Conclude maintenance. There we go. That was completely my mistake. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
that happened.
We are back. We are back.
Fine.
Let's just get the
Hello,
RPM
aviation videos.
idling around 9 to 100. Hello, aviation videos. Yeah, good to see you. Okay. One thing I remember was that my oil temperature is now rising above 30. I remember it was quite sluggish in rising, but that was just one of those things. Yeah. So in the checklist we have until it reaches 40 Celsius. Now, should that be rising fairly quickly, or?
That really depends on your outside temperatures. And again, there is a couple of issues at the moment with the temperature.
Sure. Sure, no problem.
I wouldn't pay too close of an attention.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to do is I actually programmed fluid dynamics in the system. And if at any point you want to indulge yourself into it, then press Shift 9. That's the debug panel. Application page.
Oh.
And on there you can actually see the diagram of the oil system. And on the left side of the screen, you can click of this oil system, and you can see all the values are displayed then on the right side. It's massive. It's absolutely massive.
Wow.
Roughly 200 components in the aircraft programmed with physics. That means that each of these 200 components and give temperature to other components that they are connected to.
Yeah.
And as you can imagine, just like working with a few caveats, the issue is that to tweak a system with 200 different thousands of different variables is an incredible job just to get like the numbers right.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's why everything a little bit wonky. The physics is there. It's just that these numbers need to be tweaked in order to reflect reality a little bit.
Yeah. Sure. That's no problem. It's the oil temperature and the oil pressure has come up now. So, right, let's go back to Henrik and let's get remove wheel chocks, remove battery cart, remove tie downs, and that's all. And all of a sudden, the sun has decided to come out from behind the clouds and shine straight into my face. So let's actually just close down the window. Turn on the light. Okay. Okay, warm up is, I'd say the warm up's pretty much done now. Our oil is good. Yeah. Flight controls, check. Let's go check these. Yep. Flight controls, check. Brakes, let's just check the brakes. Yep, brakes checked. Ground checks, brakes, let's lock the brakes just to begin with. Spark, fully advanced. I'm getting my FPS bottleneck, which is quite characteristic of my PC, I'm afraid. Throttle, 1500 RPM. Okay, 1500 RPM, holding. Oil pressure, check, 80 to 90 PSI. Which it is. Oil temperature, check 50 to 70. It's not. It's down to 30 to 35, and hasn't risen beyond that, but never mind. Magnetos, check. Okay, let's just watch for the drop in RPM. Slight drop, I can tell, on both mags, but they seem to be good, clean mags, no issues. Throttle, let's bring that down. And artificial horizon has been uncaged. Okay, takeoff. Right, so, I don't know, why am I... Usually, with this FPS bottleneck, I have to cycle the external and internal views around a few times, and somehow the simulation has to like reload textures every now and then, and that usually clears it, and it just starts running at its normal frame rate again. But sometimes it can be stuck under 10 FPS for like half an hour at a time, and it's ridiculous. Sometimes I have long hauls in a PMDG aircraft where I'm sat at like 8 or 9 frames per second for hours and hours, and then it only goes back to normal like 25, 30 frames per second on touchdown. Anyway, so let's just double check the wind.
It sounds normal to me, at least on my development computer. I've got the same.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to taxi to the south end of...
Just want to point out, that's not the Vega. It's Peter's computer.
Yeah. Yeah. This issue is my computer. It's not the Vega at all. The Vega's very good on frames, actually.
I think so too, yeah.
I mean, everyone these days are going crazy to try and get their systems to work with the FS Labs and the PMDG, and if you can manage to get your system working relatively well with FS Labs, then it will work perfectly fine with something like the Vega. So I shouldn't have any issues with that there. Let's just turn around.
Hey, aviation videos! I'm really happy. So he's writing, I will buy the aircraft in the next weeks. It's so lovely, created, and with so much features, I think I will have a lot of fun getting this aircraft.
You can use a discount code as well that Vitas has very kindly provided for us who are watching the stream. The discount code is all caps is Mantok20. I think that is that 20% off.
Yeah, you get 20%.
Yeah.
I think it's running for another 2 weeks.
Okay.
I have to check that. It's running for another 2 weeks, and you get 20% off of the Lockheed Vega.
Cool. Yeah.
You type that in on the checkout. There's like a little, I don't know, like a little box that opens up a promotional code. And you type that in there, and you get it.
Excellent. And the nice thing I like about the Vega, in taxiing especially, it's really a sweet aircraft to taxi. In terms of tail draggers, like I've known some tail draggers that are horrible to taxi.
Yeah.
And this...
See, this is really difficult, because I've got so many people complaining about that, because they say, well, this is way too easy to taxi, or it's way too sensitive on the rudder. Like, it's probably it's certainly not very realistic that it is that easy. So I won't be like this in the full version. At some point, I have to. Yeah, I have to make it a little bit harder.
Right. Okay.
Because to stick a little bit more true to history.
Yeah.
Because I mean, these things. Just imagine you dragging like this tiny little wheel behind you, and especially if you go on a field, these things get stuck, like in a muddy grass, and you've got this little wheel stuck in there. It's I acknowledge that the stick. I like it like that as well. I'm like you. I like it.
Yeah. I mean, one thing that we could talk about in the taxi and in the takeoff is the fact that the aircraft is very susceptible. It feels like a crosswind affects it a lot more than a normal aircraft would. particularly on takeoff. I'll usually find like I'm using
Yeah, I mean,
full deflection on the controls just to keep it on the
yeah.
center line sometimes in a crosswind that would hardly affect me in any other kind of aircraft.
I mean, you would have a stronger like crosswind effect with an aircraft like this, simply because you've got you've got a long, yeah, almost like a weather vane, right?
Yeah.
You've got the center of rotation is very far forward, and so the wind would push those aircraft around quite a bit.
Yeah.
Second thing that is that's a P factor that is maybe a little too strong on this aircraft. So like the effect of the you crank up the speed on your takeoff, there's a little bit too much yaw effect that comes with that. So yeah, I mean, I know it from pilots that flew the Vega that said that that you need a lot of rudder during takeoff, but I think I will. I'm happy to acknowledge that.
Yeah, that's no problem. Yeah. And of course, I mean, you've got a big, heavy radial engine up front, and like you say, if the point of rotation within the aircraft or the point of spin, well, I don't even. That's kind of using the word point of rotation is kind of confusing because you confuse it with other things. But the point of where the aircraft will spin horizontally on a horizontal lateral axis on the airfield when it's taxiing is quite far forward. That means that the wind effect on the tail fin at the back is going to create quite a levering force to spin the nose into the wind more than, say, tricycle gear would ever do that for you.
Yeah.
I'm really, I really feel annoyed at this point because my frame rate is doggedly sticking very, and it's very choppy at the moment. I have a feeling maybe once we take off and once we're in cruise, the frame rate will snap back to its normal. So if I go down to my P3D, the CPU is running at 9%, and the GPU is 98% to 100% utilization. If that's not a bottleneck, I don't know what is.
I want to answer a question in chat. So,
yeah, go for it. I'm concentrating on taxiing at the moment and takeoff, and I will look to my left to the chat box when I have a minute. But go for it.
Yeah. The FSX version is already included in this, so that's one license. On our website, wing42.com, and you'll get an installer that will install to both platforms. So that's. But honestly, you should really upgrade to P3D.
Yeah.
It's just a stable platform.
Yeah. Completely.
I find it so the limitations that you have, especially like you plan a flight, and you've got like the nice whatever, and you plan a 2-hour flight, and then you approach your airfield and bam, out of memory.
Yeah.
It's the most annoying.
Yeah.
So if you want to avoid that, then at some point you should really switch to P3D.
I used to have an add-on. I think it's actually a Project Fly add-on where you have a little counter where it shows you how much of your virtual memory you're using, and as it gets up to like the 80 and 90%, I would always save the sim and reload the sim, and it would reload it, and in reloading it, it would shake off all of that stuff that it didn't need, and it would reload it so that I never had a crash that I couldn't recover a pirate from.
That's actually a good idea.
Yeah.
That's a really cool
That's
idea.
the only way I could do long hauls.
That probably wouldn't work too well with the Vega, because whenever you start up a flight with the Vega, the engine automatically quits.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you're in flight, that might not be the nicest experience.
Okay. I'm going to go for takeoff here. 34 inches on the manifold. And oh crap.
What?
No, I'm good. I'm good. I just hope I'm going to get off the ground here. Ah, and the frame rate is so crap that it's like I don't know what's happening. I'm off the runway, of course, but just as long as I stay level and stay up. Oh, for goodness sake. This frame rate. Oh, for goodness sake. This frame rate is crap.
Yeah, that ruins.
My entire.
It's even harder
It's
to stay
even harder to.
on the runway with that.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought I had I was
the
taking
most
off into
yeah,
the
but
wind,
it-
but Project Fly said, but Plan G says that I was taking off with a slight tailwind. So I'm going to swing it around into
Oh
the
man,
wind.
if you want a real, I mean, this is if you want a real challenge,
Uh-huh.
take the Winnie May,
Mm-hmm.
the tank in the fuselage. You will be the plane will be overweight afterwards, and then
Mm-hmm.
try the same thing.
Okay.
You won't get even as far as you got hit. It's worse. It's incredible. You need to really have the those, otherwise you can't. Like these people back then in the
Yeah. Yeah.
1920s. Gosh, it's
Oh my
incredible.
goodness. That crosswind. That crosswind. Okay. That's ridiculous, that crosswind. That's only like a 5-knot crosswind, and the aircraft feels like it's affected really seriously.
You need to push your nose down, man.
Yeah.
May push your nose down and get the airspeed up before trying to take off. 65, 70 miles per hour before you can, yeah. Oh, it's funny.
There we go. There we go. Yeah. I evidently have a lot of flying to do in this to get used to it, because it's not like any modern aircraft in the flight envelope. And the handling characteristics in the air, I feel, are significantly not the same.
Oh man, and you stall this. The stalls in this thing are deadly.
Yeah. But like starting to talk about the history of the Vega and the history of the aeronautical design of the time, that's a whole huge other issue as well, another conversation, because you know, aviation design at that time, I mean, the only thing they had before this was like biplanes in World War One style, you know, just after World War One they had. So this, like I was saying in my previous live stream, this must have been really cutting edge and futuristic to them at the time.
Gosh, yeah, man, this is state of the art. This is
Yeah.
the modern day we live in.
Yeah, yeah.
This was the fastest thing around.
Uh-huh.
It won so many records. Like that's, I mean, for some reason, I think it's the limited capacity was the reason why only few airlines picked up the Vega.
Mm.
However, so many records flyers that took this design and pushed the boundary, pushed the envelope. Wiley Post, read the story of Wiley Post. It's fascinating, from convict to pioneer in aviation.
Now I've finally got the airspeed above I'm up to about 100 knots airspeed, so I'm going to
Yeah,
try
man,
and.
you need to take your time. And look, this is one issue is you have got a fixed pitch propeller in the
Yeah,
plane. That means
yeah,
that it takes a while for
yeah,
enough speed, and you need to keep the nose down. Keep the nose down until you hit your 100 miles per hour before you
yeah,
set into your climb, and then she climbs
yeah.
safely. Then you get your
Because she
1,000
does.
feet per
Yeah,
minute.
exactly. Because then she does, and I've experienced it when she really does climb well. But
Mm-hmm.
you need to, and like that fixed pitch propeller does catch me off at times because
I know.
it's like trying to cycle a bike. It's like trying to ride a bike in the highest gear from standing
Yeah,
still. Those
yeah.
first two pushes on the pedals are going to be really difficult, and I feel like that's the same kind of idea um,
Yeah, yeah, it's
with a
exactly.
fixed pitch propeller.
It's like the first as long as you're not moving or moving very slowly, the
Yeah,
propeller has so and you can see this on your RPM gauge as well. You
yeah.
barely make like 2,000 RPM. However, once you picked up your airspeed, then and here's the thing: like these record flights, they would experiment with all these things. They would try,
Mm,
maybe we can get another degree into this propeller, make it a little bit more aggressive.
yeah,
And of
amazing.
course, they would again make the takeoff stretch a little bit even take
Yeah.
off at all. That was all like in this experimental phase.
Mm,
This all of these things make this aircraft so much fun to fly because it's
mm. I'm afraid every now and then you're cutting out, and there are certain words that that I'm missing in your sentences, but most of what you're saying is coming through, so that's okay.
Yeah, man,
That's
I've
good.
got the same. You're cutting out on my end as well, but
Ah,
yeah.
okay. Yeah.
Chat, let us know if we're not audible anymore. I'm
Oh,
happy to repeat all of this.
there's my first backfire. Just cycling through my external views in a vain hope that my frame rate will readjust itself, because it's been pretty much a slideshow all takeoff.
Oh, there you go. Every now and then it peaks though.
Yeah. It's like it's locking itself at 10 to 11 FPS, and then it'll dip down to 8. There, it just dipped down to 3. Yeah, it's really not good. Sometimes it's better, sometimes it's worse. Sometimes it's like this a lot, and then sometimes I have an entire flight with perfect frame rate. It's NVIDIA GeForce driver update is available.
It's just your hardware. I mean, maybe it's just
Yeah.
like your graphics is overheating or something like that.
Could be graphics card overheating. It's not a new graphics card, yeah.
Well, that's my issue. That I get this every now. I can feel how the computer gets hotter and hotter, and
Yeah.
then at some point, bam.
Yeah. Well, it's a brand new processor, brand new motherboard, brand new RAM, brand new air cooler, but the graphics card is coming on 3 years old now. So, and it wasn't the newest. It wasn't like top of the range. It's a GTX 970.
Quite decent, actually.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's just now that I've paired it with a much more modern CPU, it's bottlenecking. So, I think if I match the system with an RTX 2070, it would, the two would work hand in hand much better. Anyway, so we've now successfully risen from the ground, from Mother Earth, which is good.
From the ashes. I mean, considering how your first attempt,
How that takeoff was, yeah. Yeah, that was horrible.
So there was another question about the failures. So at the moment, early and while we're getting closer and closer to the full release. Failures are, for the most part, not implemented yet. That is something that I'm working on right now. That will come in the next version for 0.9. And there is a few systems that can fail right now, and one is the electrical system. And we had that at the beginning, where for some reason blow the starter motor, and so that's something that can happen. There is blockages. You can experience blockage lenses. So your pitot tube and your static port, they can clog up. Uh, that's essentially it for is coming with the next update. And yeah, there will be random failures, but for the most part, this is done through wear and tear. Think how each component in the aircraft is used. Like if you run your engine extremely hot, then you will have a wear on your bearings and on all the equipment that's attached to it, and that will have an effect on the reliability of your engine. That's all. Looking forward to the next version.
That sounds great. Yeah. So one question I did have about the Vega. How difficult is it with an aircraft like this to find reliable sources to create a realistic
Oh man,
representation?
that's a journey.
That's
Gosh,
a whole journey. Yeah.
this is the journey, and it's twofold. On the one hand, you don't find reliable information, especially on the internet.
Yeah.
It's really not like even Wikipedia. If you see like your cruising speeds are all off, and it's a total mess.
Mm.
I still don't know what the configuration of the fuel tanks was, because I got brochures from Lockheed, first versions of the Vega, where they have advertised for 2 fuel tanks with 50 gallons each.
Right.
Then I read about wrote that that their Winnie May had 3 fuel tanks in the wings with 32 gallons each. That's what is.
Right.
And, it's a mess, and I mean there's 2 aspects to that. On the one hand, it kind of gives me a little bit of artistic, because no one really knows. So if I got something wrong, then I always say, well, yeah, but there's some information over here to that.
Yeah.
I like to get things right, and so with a lot of things, I change it over time as well. Like the fuels, I had switch that. I changed the starter mode from a direct cranking type to the now Eclipse because of more information that I got. And I mean, in terms of research material, so I'm working on. I've got a original leather bound Whitney of the Wasp C engine.
Wow.
So that is a tremendous help. Like I said before, I read the book that was written by White and Harold Getty after their Around the World tour. That was good. If you want a good, try to get this book on eBay or something. You can probably get it for like $10 somewhere. You can read it very, very quick, 2 days, but it's full of anecdotes and as aircraft of the time were flown. There's one great resource. It's a book by Richard Sanders and Alan, Revolution in the Sky, Those Fabulous Lockheeds, the pilots who flew them. And this like there's so much information in this. You'll find every single Vega. There's reference, serial number, all the registrations, the
Wow.
ATC that it came with, a short of the history of the aircraft. So that's a great resource. Yeah,
That's really cool.
Yeah, just I mean, haven't stopped. I still find new material,
Mm.
and now, I mean, this is one great thing about this about the early access. I must say as well. I've got most amazing customers because I've got customers that come to me and say, "Well, I found this piece of information here.
Hmm.
Maybe you can put this in."
Right.
Stuff. I love that. I found out more about the Vega once I released it in early access
Right.
than
Hmm.
thanks to my. Hmm.
That's really encouraging. That's really good to hear. A supportive user base will make or break a developer. I tell you, it's you know um, the likes of whenever people in the industry say, oh yeah, PMDG are so successful, they have the most popular aircraft add-on in the entire flight sim industry. Yes, they might, but yet, like the amount of criticism people throw around about issues that a PMDG aircraft might have, or FS Labs, or you know, with I feel like there's a lot of toxic kind of, oh well, I don't think you should buy that. That's crap. There's a lot of that, I think, in the industry sometimes, and in the community, that really gives the developers a much harder time developing their products, and
Yeah.
having to handle that than not. So whenever you have a situation where you've got people who are willing to look over teething issues, and small bugs and things like that, and can look ahead and say, I really like this. I want to invest in this for the long run because I can see what this will become with good feedback and constructive feedback. That's where you get some of the best add-ons that have ever been made for flight sim. Um,
Yeah, look, I feel the same way, and I mean, at the same time, like the more, like the bigger an organization grows, the more people, the more customers you have, and the bigger you're toxic. I think that's just the nature of human being.
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't think that you can avoid that. So
sure. Hello.
32 is still very small,
Uh, yeah.
and so everything is nice and cozy.
Yeah.
So get in there while you can
That's right. Yeah,
before the trolls take over.
that's right. Before the trolls descend, let's get in there. That's good. So hello, take Mill. Good to see you on the stream, and yes, thank you for following. I see your follow. Everyone, welcome. Take Mael on Twitch. I don't want to descend too harshly here. I'm sitting up at 11,000 feet, and like you were saying earlier on, once you get her to her sweet spot in terms of airspeed, the propeller starts to do the job, and it will really climb, and have no problem sitting at 10, 11,000 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been trying various tricks while you've been talking to jolt the frame rates back into obedience. But unfortunately it's not happened yet. It's really annoying because I can sit here all day long and have perfect FPS in a perfect environment, and I won't be streaming, and as soon as I go to stream...
Everyone who's listening, so what Peter is saying,
Yeah.
please spend some money, put it into his account so he can finally buy himself his RTX.
Basically.
That's really the message here, right?
Oh wait, no, it's just back. It's just come back to 30 FPS. Look at that. It's locked up to 29.8. Okay. No, keep your money. Keep your money. Don't donate to me. There you go. See? Look, now I can pan around the cockpit. Everything's fine. So it's not the add-on. It's just my graphics card bottlenecks every now and then. So if I go back to the task manager, yeah, look, my graphics card is now down to 65 to 70% usage. So there's no rhyme or reason as to why this happens. It's a complete mystery to me.
Yeah, okay.
I think it might have something to do with loading different scenery packages. because now we've finally gotten away from the localized Kern Valley Orbex scenery, which it's probably unloaded from the system now, and that's probably the jump in FPS. And now we're just in the standard California scenery, and the FPS is perfect now. And then hopefully we won't have that problem going into Aqua Dulce. I've never had an issue with Aqua Dulce, but there we go. So let me just pause track hour and catch up on chat here. So Friedrich, good to see you. Friedrich Nietzsche, hello. Nice you have the developer with you on board. Nice. Yeah, that's right.
Oh,
Say hello to Vitus, sorry. Friedrich.
Thank you for your purchase, and really, really thank you so much. You didn't take the discount code, I noticed.
Yeah, that's right.
For your support, it's much appreciated. I hope you get a lot of fun out of our little ad.
Yeah. What's the service ceiling of the Vega? Just while we're on the subject of cruising, Vitus.
Yeah, it's another mystery. You probably can get her up to something like 15,000 feet.
Right. It's really, I suppose you obviously with an aircraft like this have some hard limits where it obviously won't go any higher than such and such because it's not supercharged. The propeller is a constant speed prop, so you do know the envelope that it can operate within. But as to on certain days, in certain temperatures, in certain payloads, it will vary. I can imagine. Yeah. See now if you look at this right now, I'm completely hands off, and this thing is flying like an absolute dream. Starting to climb slightly. Let me just trim it. There we go. But it really is a beautifully stable aircraft. Let me just go to exterior view there. If I just add in some rudder, it's starting to bank. Oh, that's probably the radial engine. The torque from the radial engine is causing that to happen.
Well, either that or imbalance in the fuel.
Yeah, except I was on the central fuel tank, so.
Ah, okay.
Oh no, wait, now I'm on the center. Well, I should have been on the right. I thought I was on the center all the time.
So
that's what it's.
Just the reason for that is, of course, we have it cantilever way all the below the wing. It's like a pendulum. It's re-erecting to a certain extent, and this is something that on calm days, he would essentially let go of the stick and would fly purely with the rudder, nothing else.
Huh.
Every now and rudder, and that's it. He would just relax.
Who would do that? Sorry, you cut out earlier on.
That's Wiley Post.
Okay. Yeah.
Around the world.
So
he would know what he's talking about.
Yeah. I've just switched over to the left tank because I had been draining the right tank without realizing it. I thought I set it to the center on takeoff, and that's why I'm now getting that left-hand bank. So I've set that I've set it to the left tank now. So, but it's flying really nice. Actually, I only had one engine backfire on climb. Now I'm up at 12,000, almost 12,500, and I've got the mixture to about 50%, the throttle to about 75%, and I'm cruising really smoothly. I really like it.
Yep. So with the backfire, it's actually not a backfire. I was corrected.
Right.
It's an afterfire.
Ah, yes. I remember in your email you specifically said afterfire. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like the backfire is like the more. But if you want to be technically correct, then it's an afterfire because it happens after your engine, after you chain, but it happens back rather than in the carburetor.
Right.
And so it is. It's a little. So the afterfires will be slightly reduced on cruise in the upcoming version as well. The reason for it is is the ignition system. So shall we talk about spark advance and
Yes,
what it
please,
does?
please do. This is
All
this
right.
is the time and the place.
I think so too. Yeah, cruising at 11,000 feet, that's the time to talk about ignition systems and spark advance levers.
Yes.
So this lever in the cockpit with the S on it
Yeah, spark advance
is
lever.
setting the timing at your spark plugs will ignite the fuel mixture in your cylinders,
Interesting.
and you can the spark, that's what it's called, or you can advance the spark. Retarding the spark means that you're essentially holding your delay, and the reason why you do this on startup is because your engine is turning, well, it's not turning at all, and then slowly. And so if you had the spark igniting the fuel where it would at whatever 2000 RPM, spark would be too let me think about this, would be too late for it.
Right, okay.
No, wait, the other way around, would be too. So you need to retard it in order to make sure that it ignites just at the right
Hmm.
thing in your aircraft, in the system. It's a physical system, so it takes some time for your current to go through the spark plugs for the
Uh-huh.
and so all of that takes time, but this is like a fixed time step.
Yeah.
And so you need in that in order to make sure that it ignites just at the right time. And so if you're advancing this on startup, then your spark won't at the right moment in time. And if you're retarding the spark while your engine is running at 1,500, and you're igniting your fuel mixture too late, and that's when you get your afterfire as well.
Hmm. Right.
So with modern engines do the same thing, but nowadays all of this is controlled electronically.
Hmm.
I
Right.
mean, a little bit later, mechanics take care of that. But when Pratt and Whitney came up with this with their Wasp engine, this was still like the state.
Yeah.
And if you ever talk to some old timer, some car enthusiasts, they will tell you about the spark advance. And for instance, so that was like another control on your steering wheel to make sure that your ignition is timed correctly.
Yeah. Right. That's
More or
very
less.
interesting. Yeah.
And so, if you want to have a look, if you want adventures, keep your throttle and retard the spark, and then switch to the outside view and observe what's happening.
Okay, so if I bring the spark back to 50%. Uh-oh.
So the way
Uh-oh.
is,
Yeah. It's another.
so your engine is essentially outrunning the ignition of your fuel. And what happens is that part of the mixture of the fuel air mix is not combusting in the combustion chamber.
Right.
Instead, there's fuel and air that runs into the exhaust stack, and then due to the heat of the exhaust gets ignited.
Afterwards.
See.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool.
Like flames coming out of the.
Yeah.
And you will see, of course, you will see a drop in your RPM because you essentially deprive power that way because the ignition is not perfect. And you'll also feel like shaking of the engine. You will see like a quick on the airframe.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what that does.
All right. I'm afraid
It's essentially a time when things will be
yeah.
ignited.
I'm afraid I feel really bad that we're having these fantastic conversations, but every now and then your voice is cutting out. So we're actually we're picking up your train of thought and what you're discussing, but there are certain key little things that we're missing in conversation. I'm just wondering if there might be a better way of talking. I can't think, unless I don't have TeamSpeak or anything, so I wouldn't
Oh gosh,
know
I
if.
don't think
No,
of
I
that.
don't think I have anything like that. But
Nah.
oh, I had another after fire there. So generally, would you say for cruise, well, I suppose in general running, would you say keep the spark fully
Yeah, look.
advanced?
So you the safe thing to do is you retard the spark on the engine start.
Yeah.
Once the engine is running at your 1000 RPM, you can spark at something like 50, or you can just fully advance it, but you will have a slight power loss in this.
Right.
But either way is fine.
Yeah.
Once you do your run spark full advance, and then it stays there until you land.
Right. Huh.
So, and again, this is information that I collect. I don't know, like 1.5 years with the help of people from our forum, and this is my current. Um, if there's experts somewhere out there that have a different opinion, then please let me know.
It's very interesting because you would think that all you need to do is ask Lockheed, and they should have blueprints for everything they designed, right? Like they were the ones who built it in the first place. Surely they should know, but I guess not.
I couldn't get in touch with anyone who has anything specific like that.
Huh. I'm sure they have archives of their blueprints and things
Look,
somewhere.
I mean,
But
in this particular case,
yeah.
the engine manual gave away a lot when it comes to that.
Right. Right. Yeah.
So but look, when the problem there is like all your technical documentation, and when the manual says, well, you advance your spark after the engine starts, I want to know, well, don't.
Mm.
Right? And that's
Yeah.
something that this type of information you won't find anywhere. And
Yeah.
that's where I think that I right, but like I said, I'm happy to be correct on my
Yeah.
assumptions.
Yeah. So we're getting closer to our. We're getting closer to our descent area, and I've just got a bit of a freeze frame here. Just gonna sit and do nothing until P3D
That's Aquadulce loading.
decides. Yeah, that's probably Aquadulce loading. Although it shouldn't take this long. I think it's just. Uh-oh. I heard the sound of a USB device unlogging itself. Oh, no, we're back. We're back. Okay, good. Excellent. So now I'm going to start descending. Pretty much straight south of where I am. Oh, Plan G was what logged off. Okay. Yeah, I'm getting a few more afterfires now that I'm in the descent.
So well, always reduce your throttle to make sure that your engine doesn't outrun the spark. I mean, like I said, I will make this a little bit more manageable
Yeah.
but in
That's
the
okay.
meantime, just
Yeah.
make sure that you reduce your RPM sufficiently, and then you should find.
Yeah. Yeah. That's fine.
And one thing that I find so much fun with Vega is your approach and landing, because
Oh yeah.
there is no flip, there is no speed brakes,
Uh-huh.
and you really have to manage. The thing is that if you just, I don't know, if you approach with something like 120 miles per hour, it's kind of difficult to bleed.
Yeah.
You really have to side slip it in or something.
Yeah.
So And at the same time, if you drop your airspeed below, let's say 70,
Yeah, you're done.
even 80 miles, you will be in other
Y-
sorts of trouble because all of a sudden your propeller is not as efficient anymore, and that
Yep.
means that you really you have to stay on top.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
this
generally, I think.
Discord.
Sorry.
No, I'm sorry. It's just this Discord really is cutting you out
Yeah.
annoyingly. So, um, I've never
Well,
really
like
had this problem with Discord until now. Um, I've done
let
many
me
live
quickly
streams
check on
with
my end.
while talking to people. I don't know what it can be. I've had many conversations with people on live streams, uh, and it's only now just starting to happen. Maybe my housemate's streaming lots of things. I don't know. I don't think so. Da, 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 da.
Oh, and maybe another thing that might be interesting to
Uh-huh.
know: don't don't cut your throttle until you're on the ground.
Yeah, right, okay.
You need this power in order to stay airborne and have pressure on your rudder as well.
Right. Yeah. Good to know. uh, yeah.
Yeah, just I mean, when you're pro, you're aiming maybe 70 miles per hour, something
Uh-huh.
like that,
Right.
and then just keep that airspeed until you're.
Another thing, of
What I
course.
found is the best
Oh,
way.
sorry.
Sorry.
I keep cutting over you because the Discord isn't smooth. But sorry, continue what you were saying.
No, no, no. That's essentially it. Just keep your airspeed until you're. That's
Mm,
that's what I
right.
found helps.
Okay. I was just saying um, the one fun thing that I first found about the Vega when I first flew was the ball and slip indicator is shows that the ball goes outside of your comfortable area. It goes off center very quickly whenever you start banking, and that made me think that there is a lot of induced drag on the wings.
You. Oh yes.
Nice
Oh
big
yeah.
thick wings. The big thick wings create a lot of induced drag,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
And that's an
yeah,
important. Let's say that once you remove the power from this aircraft, it flies like a brick essentially,
yeah, right.
and that's all this drag as you say,
All the
induced drag
drag, yeah.
from this huge, big ass wing board.
Although,
Yeah.
if I mean, thinking about this versus everything that came previous to this, this is a relatively this is a relatively drag-free airframe in comparison with what came before, because what came before, that this is the very fact that this is not a biplane in people's minds at this time in history.
Hmm?
The very fact that it's a monoplane is screams futuristic design and cutting-edge technology. Um,
Yeah.
so so the fact
And
that
furthermore, it's like no outside bracing of the wing.
yeah, the
Like
wing is completely self-contained, internally
the
contained.
sleek design, like bullet type design
Yeah,
that they came up with.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And like I said before, this is cutting edge.
yeah, yeah.
It really was. And like if you read, I don't know if you read the book that comes with it, written by Tom. Shout out to Tom. Hey, maybe you've seen the how this aircraft was actually manufactured. Even that novel.
Hmm.
Like Lockheed came up with a process of producing these monocoque fuselages that don't need inner bracing, and thus cutting down weight on this aircraft tremendously.
Yeah.
So there's lots of innovations in this aircraft that are. Or another thing, the cowling.
Mm.
So the NACA came out with reports engine cowlings will increase your airspeed by something like 10 miles per hour.
Uh-huh.
And Lockheed was one actually look into that and then retrofit all the aircraft with these cowlings.
Hmm. Right. There's a question from the stream. Friedrich, we did cover that earlier on, but definitely just a quick question. Will the passengers be added? Great add-on. Besides the A2A Constellation, there are those are the only things an old-time sim pilot needs. I played around a bit and added the sextant gauge to it. Could be interesting. Do you mean, Frederick, that you added the sextant gauge to the Constellation, or you added the sextant gauge to this aircraft, the Vega? Because I think, like you said, Vegas, in the round the world flight, they were shooting stars from the back seat. I remember you saying.
Yeah, for the first round the world tour of just to answer the question, yeah, date, but before the full release, there will be 3D models of passengers added to the cabin. And yeah, I mean the pilot as well. You will get animations and all these things. So there's a
Uh-huh.
couple of bells and whistles that are still missing, and
Yeah.
that will come.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so when Wiley Post and Harold Getty took the Vega on their first round the world tour, Harold Getty was a hatch actually in the back. So they put a hatch on top that he could open and then shoot the stars. He could.
Wow.
Yeah, open type of thing. It wasn't a cupola or something, but a hatch that he could open in order to get his fix.
Huh. Yeah, Frederick. So I'm sorry where Discord is doing strange things, but so yes, that is affirmative. We will be able to see the passengers in the aircraft in the exterior view, like you do in the A2A add-ons. Okay, so we're just doing a downwind leg for.
I think you're way too fast.
Yeah. Well, currently I'm about 100 miles an hour in the descent. I don't know if I want to be any more any slower than that at the moment.
I mean, I'm lagging a little behind because I'm watching
Oh, I
this on
see.
YouTube and it's all yeah. So.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. Sorry. Okay. So.
I mean, one thing that you can always do if you have too much airspeed is you just slip. I mean, of gas, put in some rudder and some counter
Yeah.
aileron,
Yeah.
and that reduces airspeed quite quickly as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Side slipping. I learned to side slip a bit in the Piper Cub, actually, the A2A Piper Cub.
Yes.
Which I'm very sad that they haven't brought that into V4 yet. I would have thought an add-on like the Piper Cub would be fairly quick in terms of bringing.
There is a lot of things that are different in.
Yeah.
So it's not.
It's not a cut and dry. Yeah.
Especially when it comes to system simulation, because I mean you have to. It is a. There's a couple of like things hidden that are like for I don't know for let's say the norm, not so much of it, but like I ran into trouble when I first ported over forms, simple things like timing. Like my timing was completely off in prepared. I didn't know why. Well, the reason was that changed some internal. So yeah, I mean, I would love to see the A pipe.
Yeah.
as well. That's yeah, that's
Uh,
something that I miss as well.
yeah. Mixture is rich. Fuel tank selector is on fullest tank. Carb heat is cold. I'll talk about the carb heat
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
a bit later, but airspeed 70 to 80. Okay, here it goes. All right, side slip this baby. Oh my goodness, that was lethal.
I'm still behind. I still see your approach.
Oh, that actually kind of set me up correctly. That's not too bad. Could be worse. We could be worse here. It's got a displace threshold anyway, so oh, I feel like this is going to go horribly wrong. I know, right? I know, right? When you look out your right window and see that, you're like, oh crap.
Yeah,
Actually,
I don't think I
actually,
want to be a passenger in your aircraft. See, this would be the moment in time where Heidi.
oh yeah. Oh, there we go. Also, it's very hard to judge how far you are away from the ground because I think that the landing gear on this is deceptively high. So
Yeah.
I touch down a lot faster. I touch down before I think my wheels will hit down. So that wasn't bad in the grand scheme of Vega handling that I
Looks
have
quite good touchdown.
done. Except that the thing that I found with the Vega so far is that when you line up on the center line, you think, okay, good, I'm on center line, I'm going straight. But then 10 seconds later, you look and you're actually kind of side slipping off the center line without like modern aircraft don't do that in the same way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, which so you particularly in this low airspeeds.
Like I said, on your take, of course, I mean, if you have like even a slight crosswind, that has a huge effect on this type.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the P factor, I think, is a little bit high.
All in all, though, I mean, the
So
more
just
I
as you go into like uh, into this ground effect range,
yeah
then to push your aircraft around a little bit.
yeah, is ground effect modeled in
Yeah,
the
yeah,
physics? Excellent.
yeah.
That's what I like to hear.
Ground, that's like a standard thing that is in the sim just by default. I mean, you just have to
Oh
tweak
really?
it. Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
nice. So I don't know if this was done in real life, but when you open the top window, I wonder if pilots in taxiing to see over the nose actually stood up in the aircraft in the cockpit.
I honestly, because I don't think that you can actually step on the rudder and brakes in that case.
Yeah, yeah. I'd like to think they did. They'd get an entire face full of prop wash. Would probably be quite refreshing after sitting
And
in the
oil.
cockpit for so long. And oil, yeah.
Oh man. Uh, do you into the history of like from the 1914 and before, like World War One aircraft?
Uh huh.
These man, these gnome engines with they're not radial engines but rotary engines,
Yeah.
and they used castor oil, and
Oh.
it was a full loss oil system. That means that all the oil that was supplied to the engine would essentially, and since there is no collectoring in this in a gnome engine, the exhaust would pretty much go out everywhere. Like now, imagine you're flying one of these aircraft, sitting in an open cockpit behind an engine that's spewing out castor. There is stories of pilots who came down to the ground and had to find the next glue in order to
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah, because this castor oil has quite some effect onto your digestive system.
Oh,
The case for
brilliant.
sorry for the Vega.
No, that's fine. There we go. Right, let's just.
What? The P2 tube is tucked, sir.
Oh, after you shut
The
down,
the pitot
just
tube
a
is
fun,
tucked, sir.
just
Yeah.
a fun little
Yep.
look on the left side. There is this metal triangle thing, the throttle quadrant.
Done.
Triangular thing on the throttle
Yeah, it's
quadrant.
like a metal, like yeah, I don't know, like two tubes at
Oh, the tubes that run
forward.
into. Click to extend the external
Yeah,
steps.
if you click that and
Okay.
then switch that view, I think that not many people
I have tried this.
have seen that yet.
Oh. Do you click and drag at all, or do you just click?
There is like two little metal bars that
Yeah.
extend on the side of the cockpit.
Yeah, I see the
We'll
metal
talk about this in the
bars.
last stream.
I see the metal bars, but how do you make them extend? Do you just click, or do you just click and drag?
It's just very short little centimeter like metal things that extrude from the side.
Ah,
And
there
that
I
is like
see. I
tiny.
see. Yeah.
You talked about this in your last stream. It's like that's the second way like how
That's.
the people can get into the cockpit.
Yeah, I see them now. Yeah. So basically,
Yeah,
they would stand on top of the wheel, and then
yeah.
get a foot up on that little foothold
One,
there,
two, three.
and then foot on
Yeah,
the next foothold, and then up through the open window. That's
yeah.
ridiculous. That's cool. Yeah, I still would definitely go through the back here. It's so
No,
funny.
and again,
In the manual, you said that Amelia Earhart fell out of the cockpit because this flew open and she tumbled backwards out of the cockpit on takeoff. That
yeah,
sounds so
yeah.
scary. Like
Imagine that. What a scary
what
thing
what
to happen,
what
huh?
what
You're on full
I would really
throttle.
want to know what happened. Like, did the aircraft crash, or did she manage to get back into the cockpit in time, or what?
I
But
don't know. And this is that's not from me. That's one of my customers actually, who wrote this whole document about the history of the Vega,
huh.
and gave it to me for publishing with the add-on. And
Right.
he dug
Wow.
hard. I don't know where it's
Tied down,
but
Captain.
yeah, it sounds so much like something that would happen in an
Passenger
aircraft
steps
like
are in
this.
place, sir.
Yeah.
It's just like random.
One of those stories that you couldn't make up.
No, no, you couldn't.
One thing I was saying on my last live stream is whenever you press the passengers to deboard them, do you then have to press the board passengers button to unboard them? Oh,
Yes,
actually,
that's how
yes.
it works. So essentially, so
Okay, sir.
in your payload
Turn on
manager,
your passenger
blue
signal.
passenger on a seat means currently there is someone sitting there.
Mhm.
If
Yeah.
you
Yeah, I
click
see
on
them. I
board
see them.
passenger.
I
And
see
yeah,
them.
see, this
Yeah.
is again, user interface. This is something that I will the moment I say passengers on board, even if the aircraft is empty. It's another thing that
Passengers
is
on board.
going to change.
Yeah. See, does that door open on a click spot, or does the door only open when
Wheel trucks in place.
when Henrik opens it?
Sorry, say that again.
Does the door open from a click spot, or does the door only open when you ask Henrik to open it?
Needed.
No, there's at the moment there's no clicks. The ship and that opens it.
Okay.
Um, yeah.
All right. Cool. Cool.
E and then two that open emergent hatch on the other side.
Right.
And yeah, but there's no.
Okay. No problem.
shall we
Ah,
talk about
such. Yeah?
Red?
You're crackling up a lot now at this point. Let me just
Ah,
let me just do a few things. Complete flight. Exit that. How many things can we exit just to see if we can improve this? Hit no. I wonder. I might. I'm just going to. Leave the call, and then I'm going to close Discord and reopen Discord to see if that helps. Or actually, that wasn't. I need to right click. Where is it? Where is it? There it is. Quit Discord properly. There we go. Okay, I'm back. I'm back.
hello, hello.
Okay.
Better?
Not really, I'm afraid, but but ah. Why does Discord have to do this when this is like the most interesting stream I've done so far in a long time, and it has to go and do this? I
Well,
have
I
no
mean, it
clue.
looks to me as if we have to do this again then.
Yes. Yes. You are very welcome to join me on future Vega flights and future live streams as well. Even if I'm not live streaming the Vega, you're very happy to come and. Usually, most of my live streams, I sit in the P3D version 4 voice comm channel, and while I'm live streaming, if anyone wants to come, just jump into the channel and chat with me while I'm live streaming, is more than welcome. But yeah, thank you so much for
I
joining
like
us on this. It's been a great flight and a great conversation as well, just on all aspects of this era of aviation as well.
That's my pleasure. No, thank you for
Yeah.
having me.
Hmm.
I look. I can talk about this aircraft for hours. There's
Yeah.
so many.
Yeah. Yeah. Does just while we're finishing up the stream, is there anyone on the live stream that has any parting questions for the developer of this aircraft, for Vita? Um, yeah. But
So,
yeah.
uh, there is still one open question. We should talk a little bit about the carburetor heat,
Ah,
if
yes,
you don't mind.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, please.
Um.
So
So
yeah, that was mentioned in the manual.
for
Yeah,
yes, before version 0.85, which is the current version, um, a little lever in the cockpit saying carb heat
right.
that turned on the carburetor, as you can imagine.
Yeah,
Um, there is one big issue with this aircraft is that essentially there wasn't one like typical build of the Vega. They all look differently, especially in terms of their instrument equipment in the cockpit.
yeah,
In the sim, what I modeled is pretty much like a potpourri of various different types of Vegas, and like yeah, for instance, the compass is the compass of Amelia Earhart's, whereas the rest of it is. And but one thing that all these Vegas had in common was four levers on the throttle control,
right.
and I always that the bottom lever with the B on it
Uh huh.
would be a lever for a two-stage supercharger.
Right. Yeah.
However, the more I read about this, the Wasp engine, and this is a so so talk a little bit about the engine that's built that's put into the Vega is a Pratt and Whitney R134, sometimes SC1 engine, and that's an important distinction because were built for the span, gosh, I don't know, like 30 years and constantly improved. So there's various different versions, and this is one of the earliest version of. And so it won't be anything like a WASP engine that was developed or that was flown, let's say, during World War II.
Right.
And this WASP engine or the Vega came with this lever that I'm still not 100% sure that the B lever in the Vega is actually controlling the carburetor. And the reason for that is that the was a patent filed by Pratt and Whitney around this time for something that they called a universal heater mixture type of thing.
Right.
And that is part that is described in the manual as has a weird name. It is a weird little contraption that you can see right in the entrance of your car. And to me, this is like one of the first carburetor heats that was put into an aircraft engine like.
Right. Just say again
So,
where that carburetor heat was.
So the carburetor heat is at the of your carburetor. It's essentially using gas that's funneled through a pipe to warm up that comes into. And so there's a little valve that you can open or close in order to this warm air or not. And as far as I can tell, this valve is controlled with the B lever from the.
It's
That is carburetor heat. That's what nowadays we would call a carburetor heat. But back in the manual, this thing is called universal heater. Sometimes it's called blower. Hence,
okay.
this confusion.
Oh, that's what the blower lever is.
Yep.
That's basically your carburetor.
So and I mean, once again, this is my. Like about a year ago, I would have said this lever controls a two-stage supercharger. So essentially, you have a geared supercharger with a clutch. But this is the thing. It seems to me just to be a carburetor.
Right. I'm afraid.
At the moment, it's not modeled properly, so
Okay.
that will come with the next version as well.
Sure. I'm afraid at this point, I don't know if it's the connection or something, but a lot of what you've been saying in the last 5-10 minutes has been cutting out quite a lot, in fact. But I've been able to follow pretty much everything you've been saying, but it's not been easy. So I think
yeah, like I said, we can just do this again and we can pick it up.
Yeah, we can do more streams in the future. That's no problem, and I'm sure it will be fixed later on. But we'll just continue talking after I turn the stream off. We'll see if turning the live stream off improves our quality as well. But no one in the chat has asked any more questions. But I'm sure for those of you
That's
who
a shame.
Well, I'm sure those of you who have questions later, please put them in the YouTube comments below. And in that way, both myself and Vitas can look at the YouTube comments afterwards and answer any questions about this. And most of the questions, pretty much that have come up so far, basically the answer is it's either in development or it's already coming in a future patch. So I'm to be fair myself, I'm very impressed with the development of this aircraft at this stage of development, and I really can't see any particularly negative thing about it. It's developing an aircraft of an era within aviation history which no one else has really tried to tackle. It's been done in a fantastic way, and another thing that Vitas is doing with his company Wings 42 is he's developing a physics engine to go along with the aircraft that works in the background of the simulation, and that's a sure sign to me that that's a sure sign to me that a developer is. See, you got a lot of static coming in on your microphone there for some reason. That's a sure sign to me that a developer is coding stuff for the long run. So I'm really looking forward as well to see any future add-ons. You mentioned the Electra, the Lockheed Electra, earlier in the stream. That's something you'd be interested in developing in the future.
Yeah. So I'm hoping that I can take the Propotronic physics engine that I'm developing right now in the and take it, put it into the next aircraft, and hopefully development time will be a little bit shorter in that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's cool. And Andy,
And maybe
yeah,
can I mention one more time?
yep,
So there's a discount code for anybody watching this.
yep. Let's just put that in the chat.
The next, if you're purchasing the Lockheed Vega right now from wing42.com, type in Mentalk 20, all capital letters 20. That gives you 20% off the current price.
Yeah,
Oh, and maybe I should mention also that so for the last update, with every update, I slightly increased it.
the
So
price,
to reflect like
the extra work that's going into it.
features and everything that went into it.
Yeah,
So if
sure.
you purchase it now, you get it a little bit cheaper than once version 0.9 is.
Sure. That's logical. Yeah, yeah. That's good. No problem. Yeah. Yeah. I think you and I, Vitas, would love to sit and chat all night long about all things aviation. So maybe we should just finish the stream here and talk a little bit more and say good evening. But thank you so much, guys, on the live stream for joining us, and I look forward to streaming this aircraft more and getting to know it better and being able to fly it better, so that on stream I don't make so many stupid mistakes. So, but yeah, thank you from both of us to the viewers this evening, and we will see you later. So goodbye, stream. And I'm just going
Goodbye.
to, yep, I'm going to stop the stream here. So evening.